Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today. Welcome to filmandtvreview.com. Catch the latest film, TV and streamed show reviews every week. The views and opinions expressed by the authors and those providing comments are theirs alone. They do not reflect the views, opinions or position of filmandtvreview.com or their respective parent companies or affiliates. Filmandtvreview.com makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information in this program and is for entertainment purposes only. Episodes may contain adult humor and language. For full terms and conditions, see filmandtvreview.com.
Hello and welcome to another film and TV review edition. This is in March, and we're joined by our regulars, Mark, Richard, and Alfonso today. And today we'll be talking about our new recent releases we've had on across the film and theatrical venues. So let's start. I think today we'll be discussing Iron Claw, House of Ninja, Madam Web, and a few others that gems that maybe you might have missed. First, we're joined by Mark. Now, Mark, you saw The House of Ninja, which is on Netflix. I think it's a series.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. Yeah, hi everyone. So yeah, as Jason says, I watched House of Ninjas, a Japanese series on Netflix. So the premise of the series, in essence, is it's about a family of ninjas, i.e., hence the name House of Ninjas. I wasn't sure going into it how well it would work, but it's done very well. So it's essentially about a slightly dysfunctional family of shinobi, so that they call themselves shinobi rather than ninjas, and they kind of go back into action. They're called back into action on shadowy missions and sort of mysterious threats. And they basically guard Japan from the shadows. So the family that's sort of like the series centers around the Tawara family, and yeah, they're the last known clan of like shinobi, and that's what House of Ninja sort of essentially centers around. So it's very good. First of all, say first impressions, it's very the trailer was very sort of appealing. A lot of sort of good action, a lot of good action scenes. It sort of takes the family dynamic and puts a ninja twist or spin onto it. That seems like it would be unusual, I think, but it does work well. They work well with it. You know, like it could have sort of come across, such a concept could have come across as maybe being not quite working or not hitting the mark, but it really works. Like, so you've got like the father and mother who are both ninjas. You've got the brothers and kind of a couple of older brothers and sisters, and then the youngest son, who's known as Riku, who's like maybe only 6, and the grandmother. The youngest son isn't obviously aware that his family leads these double lives, and the grandmother's kind of like an old skilled ninja. What it reminds me of a lot, both sort of the cinematography and the action set pieces, are moments in Kill Bill. If you think about both Kill Bill films, very stylized, very kind of like a lot of sort of action with sword play. The House of Ninja sort of reminds me of that kind of aesthetic, that kind of feel. So Episode 1 is titled The Offer. That kind of introduces the family who work clandestinely from the shadows. Yeah, I mean, Haru is one of the sons. He kind of features quite a lot in the episodes. He's kind of like quite a moody character. There's a lot of emphasis on him. There's other characters like the father, Haru, and the mother Yoko, who kind of like keep the sort of the rock of the family, keep the family together. Yeah, but like I say, it does work quite well. You know, they do sort of blend the idea of a family and being a sort of clan of ninjas quite well. It's quite watchable. It works quite well. It's something that you think probably could easily not work well, but it does. Yeah. So, like I say, very good action scenes. Two of the characters I think that are quite sort of, and the youngest son Riku. They're both sort of quite enjoyable characters. But yeah, I mean, I after watching it, there's about 8 episodes in all. Each episode's about an hour. There's sort of you do see sort of elements. There's a rival clan of ninjas who kind of have essentially the bad guys of the series. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, I must say. I'd recommend it to anyone on Netflix in the UK at the minute. If you like sort of those kind of old 90s sort of martial arts or ninja films, that kind of level of action, it's like a modernized version of that. So yeah, that's what I'd say, Jason. In essence, House of Ninjas, I gave it a full 5 out of 5. I thought it was very, very good. And yeah, that's my sort of review of it.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, it's good. Netflix bring a lot of money still, and those kind of like, I think there's a lot of Korean and Asian cinema, which kind of like they're putting a lot of investment in and kind of like co-producing or buying the series. So it does serve them well in the past. So, yeah, I'll give that a go.
Yeah, it's good.
Quick question for Mark.
Yeah, sure, Richard.
Like a segue before we move to another movie. Have you heard, Mark, because everybody's been talking about it on YouTube reviewers, about Shogun.
Yes, on Disney Plus, right? Yeah.
Everybody's been saying actually it's the new Game of Thrones, it's amazing, etc. I don't know if you heard about it.
Heard of it. I did look good. I saw the trailer, Richard, and it looked really good. So that's another one I'm planning to check out. I think that's more probably by comparison. Shogun is obviously more like period piece, right? Or more like, whereas House of Ninjas is like a modern, so it's set in the modern day, but it kind of blends like the modern idea of a ninja with the, like, you feel like it's a sort of good combination of what traditionally you'd see as ninjas, sort of during the period of, obviously, presume the samurai and things as well. There was probably ninjas active in that period, but sort of I guess maybe the better way of saying it is it blends traditional Japan with modern Japan now, House of Ninjas. But yeah, Shogun I have heard of, and that looks very good as well. So that might be one I'll be checking out. Have you seen it yourself, Richard, or Shogun yet? Or
no, not yet, but definitely I will. I mean, if the buzz keeps growing, let's say, and definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Perhaps I won't like it, but at least I definitely want to see what's first about. And I think that in the trailer, if I'm not mistaken, there is this recurring Japanese actor who is in everything. The guy was in Bullet Train and Sunshine, etc.
Oh, okay.
I never remember his name, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's like this old wise guy. He was in Mortal Kombat as well, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Damn it. I'm going to check his name. He's quite famous. His face
I
is
think
famous.
I know the one you mean. He was probably in one of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine films, right? Like I think. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Was he? Good question. I'm gonna try to find out. Bear with me. What's his name? I mean, Hiroyuki Sanada. So,
okay.
So I guess that the name doesn't ring a bell, but I mean, it's sad to say, but every time they need actually a Japanese famous actor, Hollywood, they hire this guy. He was also in a small part in Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
He was facing Hawkeye. As I said, he he was like the main.
Ah, yes, I do know the one you mean. He's the one that he sticks the sword, that Hawkeye as Ronin sticks the sword into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the
And I
one.
said it was in Sunshine, the Danny Boyle movie, but I really enjoy. He was like one of the main guy in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in a lot of things. And I said he was also in the Bullet Train that I saw recently. So yeah.
Well, Shogun is actually probably it's not his first TV adaptation. Of course, there was one originally with Richard Chamberlain, kind of like a very high production and quite lauded series. I think back in the early '80s. So it'd be interesting to see how this compares. But I think Disney tend to seems to have put a lot of money into it. Which so maybe they're hoping for good things out of this. Right. Speaking of which, our next title is Zac Efron, I think, stars in I must say, biography of a family of wrestlers, and that is Iron Claw. Alfonso, you saw this. I think this.
Yeah.
How does it shape up? Is it justice? I know he's done a lot of work with his body and transformative appearance. Does his performance match the gun?
Yeah, he's quite soulful in this one. He doesn't sing in this one, but his body is very much transformed into this kind of He-Man. Like it reminded me with the hair. They all had this He-Man hair, and they are 4 brothers. They were 5, but the movie starts with 4 because one of them had died before. And they all are wrestlers. Their father has always taught them to be wrestlers. His father is in the wrestling business, let's say. So they all have, let's say, received love conditioned by how good of a wrestler they were. And they love each other. They love their family. Their family means so much to them. So being the best wrestler of the world is the most important thing, as much as loving the other brothers and the mother and the father. So it is. It is a drama. It is what happens, let's say, when your father makes his or the family love conditioned by something like a sport or being the best at something, and it also talks about masculinity, I guess, in the good and the bad ways. I liked it. I thought it told well what it wanted to tell. It has actors that are really good, not only Zac Efron, also Jeremy Allen White, who is winning every comedy actor award for The Bear. It has also Harris Dickinson, which was lately, I saw him in A Murder at the End of the World series, and he's kind of everywhere too these days. Lily James, which is this British actress which never rises to first division fame, but is everywhere too. And she is really good here. She's the love interest, let's say, of Zac Efron. And she does a very good Southern American, United States Southern part accent, I would say. I'm not an expert, but she is British, and she really is doing something here. Really well. I think she really pops with another accent. I mean, she was also she can do Mamma Mia and the Rebecca remake and everything. The father is Holt McCallany, which was one of the leads in the Mindhunter series that David Fincher directed, and she's quite charismatic. She has a big role as the father, and Maura Tierney, which you might know from ER, she's the mother, and she's very difficult to understand as a character, I guess. But yeah, they are a tight family. Let's say that how they relate to each other is very much their fate in this film. And I think it's a good drama in that sense. Like things come and you see them, and it's a little bit cathartic, and it kind of makes you think about how some families love each other and how they make that love conditional to other things, external things, and how that makes a whole dynamic within the family that may varies from other families. It is sort of being in a cult of something that is your family. You can love each other, but at the same time, it can be a lot of pressure when things are not going well. And when things are going well, you feel like everything's going fantastic. But when things are not going well enough, or if you are not, you kind of don't adapt to that kind of way of living. You are in this movie. One of the first things that the father says is, of course, you know that this brother is my most loved, then this other one, then this other one, then this other one, because this one is the best at wrestling. This one is not so good. This one has a title of... So it's very clear how it works in this family. The love giving.
It's got a bit of a hierarchy there that they kind of like. I'm guessing usually it's a strong father figure there. Some sounds, kind of like
very, very, very strong. But the lovers, the brothers, really care about each other. They love each other. They have grown together. They have been always together, and Zac Efron also says this at the beginning, like. When Lily James talks about, Lily James is very focused on future family goals, not in a wrong way. Like she really knows what she wants, basically. And she says to Zac Efron, how do you see yourself in your future? And he says, like, with my brothers. I'd like to be with my brothers, which who I love. I go, so she says, like, yeah, that sounds okay. It was like good that it sounds okay, because it wasn't going to be a deal breaker otherwise. So yeah, I recommend it. I think it's a good movie, good drama.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, actually. Well, speaking of family, I just thought we'd actually caught up recently. We have a title which is being part of the modern kind of like zeitgeist a bit, or kind of like not many films tend to perpetuate, but this one did, and this came out actually a few months ago, but we finally caught up with it. Richard and myself, we saw Saltburn. Again, a kind of a family at the central crux of a story, but Richard, what did you think of Saltburn? Is it worth the perpetual hype or the word of mouth, which...
Yeah. First of all, yes, it's worth watching this movie. It's better watching this movie not knowing anything about the plot, I think.
Yeah.
I really didn't know it. I knew that actually it has a lot of success. I think it was nominated in at least the Golden Globes or something. And I know that even in this, in our chats, people kept talking about it. It's a very weird movie. When I watched it on Amazon here in France, it was written. It's like rated R. It's like, but it's not worse than rated R. It was written. It's like -18 here in France, which is actually the strongest. Actually. How do you say?
Classification for a film, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it means that usually -18 is like only only for porn or for very gory horror movies. So when I saw that, I said, "What the hell is this movie about?" So yeah, in a nutshell, what is this movie about? It starts like a bit of a coming of age movie. It follows the first days in Oxford School of a kid who is not very rich. He's just got a scholarship called Oliver Quick. He's played by Barry Keoghan, who was pretty amazing in The Banshees of Inisherin, for example, to name a few. And also in Eternals, which I know that I'm the only one who liked Eternals. And yeah, it follows his first days. The fact that he's obviously, first of all, he's kind of shy, kind of an introvert, but also maybe also because he feels that he doesn't belong to this very prestigious school where a lot of upper classes people have studied. At first, it's kind of hard for him to do the integration to the school, and then. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers here. So then actually just by chance actually he encounters one of the most popular guy in the school, who is also probably one of the richest. When I see where he lives, I'm guessing, but yeah, he's one of the richest in the UK at least. And they become friends actually, become very close friends, and through this very rich and popular kid, the hero, Oliver Quick, played by Barry Keoghan, is kind of introduced to a different world, the world of the super rich, and especially during one summer, where he's going to spend the summer with the family of this rich guy, who I can't remember the name of the character, the family of the super rich, in an estate called Saltburn, or the city. Is it the town or the estate called Saltburn? Actually, I think about it.
The estate. I think it's the family estate. And Felix, Felix actually is one of his friends, but it's his family estate. Yeah.
To just give you an idea, is as big and as beautiful as Downton Abbey. That's how I saw it. When I saw it, I thought about Downton Abbey. It was, but yeah, and through the summer, you see that, and through the different characters of the family and his interactions with the family, you can see that he's going to try really hard to be another member of the family, even if he's not related, and also to be really, really loved by this best friend of his. Even doing very strange and weird, even almost illegal stuff, but I would not say more. Yeah. So yeah.
Just like Downton Abbey.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You did mention it when you saw it, it kind of reminded you of something, and I was thinking the same thing. And
yes, I couldn't put the finger on it.
What comes to mind for me is the talented Mr. Ripley, and that in my mind. So it kind of like it's like, oh, don't give away the ending, but it's kind of like really, yeah, okay. I like the way it's done it, but you do feel like it is something you must have seen it in some kind of drama or some kind of European film drama or something. That's what it reminds me of. But it is well done. I think maybe for younger moviegoers or filmgoers, for them it's the first time they're coming up.
I was surprised to read the review of The Guardian of this movie. After watching it, I just checked the reviews and I found the review of The Guardian. And I think it's in The Guardian, but they say that Barry Keoghan was definitely miscast in this movie. And I kind of disagree with that statement, because in my mind, well, first of all, I think that the goal that he had was to show a very, not only introvert, but definitely someone who has issues here in the mind sometimes, and also sometimes who is kind of has an obsession and makes all the wrong decisions because he is obsessed, and I think that he is perfect at what he does, and also even on his face, etc. It can be sometimes borderline crazy scary, to be honest. So I disagree with that.
Yeah, it is a performance that does turn on a sixpence, as in two facets. So it is kind of, I can almost see, yeah, maybe he does, maybe doesn't do vulnerability as well as maybe you have to going into it, because it is a bit of a twist, but kind of like, okay, but it maybe I can see where they're coming from. He does the latter part very well of the persona, but he kind of like, yeah, I think if you want to be fully surprised, maybe that's what they're getting at. But I think he does both diametrically opposed roles, which is basically him as he transitions or as he develops in character. He does them quite well, I think, and I'm just credit to him as an actor that he can pull it off.
But the only thing I want to say also, to be very impartial, objective, I try to see the flip side of the coin, and it has one weakness, this movie, but I don't know how to say it without getting into spoilers territory.
I think we can do spoilers on this
The,
one.
the last part of the movie, let's say, for me, has some problems with the plot. I think that what he does in the last part of the movie is kind of almost too easy.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say more. People who watch it, they will make their own opinion. But I think it's almost too easy how he. I mean, at first, the first 1 hour and 40 minutes, let's say, I was totally invested in this movie, and I was sometimes disturbed by his performance. But then the last 20 minutes, I thought it was a bit rushed.
Yeah. It seemed almost like a flashback. Oh yeah, and then I did this, and then I did that. I was thinking, okay, that all fell into place very quickly, and I can see it's only the last like part of it. It's almost like the denouncement at the end, and you're thinking, okay, but the most interesting part is this him entering this world and then finding his footing, and then kind of playing a battle of wits with other members of the family and so forth. But I did enjoy watching it. It's just that, as you know, there are some little flaws here and there. But yeah, definitely worth a watch, I think. But it will remind you of other films.
Little fluids, little flaws and little fluids here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, well, anyway, another film that is maybe, was it worth the hype or unhype almost, and that was Madam Web, which we all saw actually, and to much fanfare. I think me and the 3 other people in the theatre went to see this. I don't know how you managed to get tickets at your end from you, Richard or Alfonso, but I'm glad you did. But an interesting movie from Sony. Again, we're at this stage of where we are with the superhero genre as a whole now, and has it come to the end of its life? But Sony bravely going on. Madam Web is obviously a kind of offshoot of a spin-off character from this Spider-Man franchise. Basically, Madam Web is a kind of a multi-dimensional or future-seeing entity that is there to help her heroes. But it's done very well. Very well. It's done very differently here. What did you think, Richard?
Can we just start with one thing before we have fun talking about this movie? FYI, while with you talking, I was checking actually on Box Office Mojo the worldwide box office of Madame Web. We are now 40 days in, and it didn't make even $80 million. And it needed to make, I think, between 150 and 200 to break even. So that's another huge success for a superhero movie.
She didn't saw that future.
I think it is something that is very much primed to be another franchise starter, obviously, because it's a very, I could say it's in a superhero mode, but very much trying to get away, almost embarrassed to be a superhero movie because it's almost done like a supernatural thriller. It's like Final Destination. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. I didn't think
if
about
you
Final
watch it
Destination. Yeah.
because there was a lot. If you go online, obviously it's been slaughtered, and you're thinking you almost want to watch it just for out of sheer curiosity. But when sitting down and watching it, it feels, huh, this is something that really doesn't want to be a superhero. It's almost like it knows it has to do its homework, but it'll keep it towards the end. And I was mildly engaged because this was the tack it was taking. It's very much anti superhero. It's very much so as if she puts in a suit or anything. However, there are some horrendous flashbacks or flash forwards where
Mm.
they do get kitted up, and it is probably one of the most worst sequences that you will see put to film because it seems so embarrassing. But um, did you? Was it really worth the hate though? This film?
So yes. So no, I believe personally that people would, and I could myself, before the release, they were already happy and on the lookout for the new Mobius movie. They say, okay, maybe we're gonna have another disaster by Sony. It's a really bad movie, yes. But at least in this one, I could see a potential for something else. There was potential for a good movie. It wasn't done properly, for sure. But that's the saddest part, actually. But sometimes, especially in the first, I don't know, half an hour, I was thinking there is some way, there is a good plot here, there is a good story here that could be used in a good way, but they don't use it in a good way. So here are my thoughts, and it's not going to be a rant as usual, it's just thoughts. There is an issue here. There is two issues here. First of all, as you were saying before, it's not a superhero movie. It's like a prequel of a prequel of a prequel. And that's a problem. And it made me think of Fantastic Fantastic Four, but the 2015 version, which was already a bad movie, by the way, of an hour and a half or even less, where you had all these characters introduced, but nothing happened for an hour and 15 minutes. And then for 10 minutes at the end, there is a little action scene because they thought, yeah, we have to introduce all these guys for future installments. And that's how you feel with Madame Web. Because in a way, the only character who is kind of developed, very badly, is obviously Cassandra Webb. But all the three teenagers who she rescues and she sees in the future that they will become these Spider Women or whatever. Honestly, the character arc is boring. There's nothing about them that is interesting. There is some kind of scene where they say that actually the relationship with their parents, or if they have parents, are terrible, etc. Okay, but there is nothing about them that is relatable. I was trying to put myself in the shoes of a teenager. Literally, because I was saying earlier, we talked about it before the chat. In my movie theater, in my screening, there were a lot of teenagers I went to see on a Friday night. And maybe these guys enjoyed it more. But at the same time, I put myself in the shoes of the teenager, especially in a teenage girl who is 16, 20 years old. And I want actually to see someone who is going to be my hero in the future, whatever. How can I relate to these girls? I'm sorry to say, but the teenagers in this movie were useless and stupid because they were doing things that made no sense whatsoever. And that's the saddest part for Cassandra Webb. I was thinking, leave them die. I mean, Cassandra Webb is an interesting character. She could have been. That's what I'm saying. There's potential. She's a very interesting character when she is by herself. But then, for some mysterious reason, she has this plan, a goal of hers to try to save these women, these teenagers at any cost. I said, okay, that's very honorable, but is it really worth it? Because, because honestly, but anyway, joke aside, let's focus on obviously the name of the movie and Dakota Johnson character. So she learns that she has this power of predicting the future. And as I said, when she was by herself and she gets scared about new power, etc., I thought actually she was playing very well. That's how I would have reacted if I had these powers at first. But then the problem is, and I tried to explain myself, problem is that she can see the future, but she never makes mistakes. I mean, literally, she's always one step ahead of anyone else. So after the 30 minutes of the movie, where she's learning how to control this thing, when she understands actually that she has this power, literally nothing bad can happen to the main character anymore. And you know it for a fact. So that's a very strange way of writing a superhero movie, in my opinion. Because in a way, how can you feel a bit scared about your hero if you know that actually they are never in danger? And that's very strange because, and that would be the end of my monologue. Cassandra, I mentioned that when we chatted on WhatsApp. Cassandra Webb, actually, the name of the character comes from the Greek mythology. In the Greek mythology, the syndrome of Cassandra is actually a legendary being who was cursed by being able to see terrible things happening in the future, but she couldn't do anything. She was screaming at everyone who can listen to something terrible is going to happen. Nobody was believing her and listening to her, and the terrible things will still happen. So that's terrible. You see the future, an apocalypse coming, but you can't stop it from happening. That's very interesting. In that case, they use that name of someone actually who can stop all the bad things from happening. I don't understand the logic here, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Yes, Alfonso, did you was there some positive?
Well, I like the take of Richard that the main villain or the main difficulty that Sandra Webb encounters, or Cassandra Webb encounters, is the stupidity of teenagers.
Thank you.
Interesting way to think about it. They are not the brightest. They are not the most. They don't follow orders that well, and they like to dance on top of tables when they should go undercover. I mean, people do. Like, people are not perfect.
At that point, they know that there is a serial killer trying to find them and kill them. Just let's remind us this.
Yeah, and they're very much they like the police is looking for them. Things like that, yeah. But they are young and they like to have fun, like young people. You can confine them to a forest. What are you gonna do in a forest?
That's crazy. Yeah, they say, let's stay in the forest by ourselves with this total unknown person called the Cassandra Webb and don't do nothing and not run away. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. To me, the movie was, let's say, it sounds bad, but it's like a tease of something that says that it's coming, but it never comes. Sorry, I think that's a spoiler, but it's like because the first scenes are a total flash forward, and it has like little teases of this superhero action is totally coming. No, actually, the teenagers are, of course, better villain than the bad guy who doesn't really see the future. He doesn't really see the good. His visions are not very good. Very good. Much better the ones of of that woman who uses snowboarding glasses in the or whatever is it was, to me, basically the movie, not even the trailer, which of course it does, but the movie itself sells something that, and then it doesn't deliver on what it sells.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and I think that's a horrible mistake, because it's all the time like, okay, when are we gonna get there? I am waiting. This is a superhero movie. I'm still waiting. And then what it is, it's like a poor version of the Terminator or something.
Yes, thank you. But thank you. I realize that it's a ripoff of Terminator 2 or Terminator 1. A ripoff.
I was the complete opposite, Alfonso. I was hoping it would never come those where they manifest into heroes, because it looked diabolical from the costumes, from everything. It looked like a CW, no disrespect to CW show almost, but actually they did the costumes better. But it was like, just stay on track. Try and keep it a very low key, non-superhero movie in name only. And I was dreading, please don't manifest into your hero genre. Just, because it was at least a braver or more interesting take when we're kind of really post the whole superhero kind of peak, quite honestly. And I'd feel kind of, I don't know, scared for Sonny, really, who must be deciding what to do with first Morbius and now this. Where do they go with their next franchise spin-off, quite honestly, because it doesn't look that promising with the box office numbers so far. We don't really have that this year that much. There seems to be almost a break of this from the superhero genre. Although we do have Deadpool and Wolverine coming out,
and Kraven the Hunter.
I apologize, Kraven the Hunter, and I think another Venom movie possibly towards the end, but I'm not sure.
Maybe next
year.
Next year, I think.
Next year,
I think so. Yeah.
Good year to take a break and maybe then to reassess where they really want to go as a genre, which is kind of like trying to maybe needs some kind of reinvention of some kind post Endgame, but we'll see. But it is interesting that they are trying slightly something askew or different. So maybe some credit there. Not that it makes any difference to anyone.
Because except for Venom, the first one, there is absolutely not one success in this Spider-Verse, whatever. So it's surprising that they keep going on without asking the right questions. Because I don't know. For me, it's strange, but it's a very strange business choice, let's say, to keep going on without looking back and say, okay, maybe we made a mistake somewhere.
I think it's very tricky with these side characters, and unless you have a very good story, which is, I think, fundamental, or script, then it might work. But right now, I don't think they're in that place.
And also, maybe a controversial opinion a bit, but I don't know. I mean, they've been trying so hard. Marvel as well have been trying, and not only Sony. But Madame Web is another example that's definitely, and also in Star Wars, by the way, studios have been trying to attract a more female audience to this kind of genre of movies. I'm trying to think, has it ever worked? I mean, really worked in these big franchises, big IPs.
I think the closest success we had was maybe Wonder Woman, the first movie.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Okay, yeah. It was almost 10 years ago now, but yeah.
Well, the Hunger Games, I guess.
Yeah, but that's a bit long time ago. But when I think about the Marvel, when I think about Star Wars sequels, when I think about this now, that's.
But it doesn't. It depends on the quality of the movie.
Yeah, of course.
You can always. It is independent from the other. If the kind of audience that you want to have and the quality of the movie, and I guess if it's too much only women, men feel alienated and like they flee from the movie.
Yeah. True. Yeah, stupid. As stupid as it sounds, it's true. Actually, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that does seem to kind of almost exclusively want to exclude a division when they should be both. A really successful movie appeals to both. Strange,
Yeah,
whether it's a
100%.
male or female protagonist.
Yeah.
These are the ones that actually, make the box office numbers. So yeah, again, they really have to reassess their take, and maybe this is kind of a good pause in the year, really, because it's not a huge slate of superhero stuff. The award 1 and 2, but it's a difficult one to navigate. Right. Well, I think that's kind of like what we kind of round up of what we recent releases. And we'll probably, of course, we've got the Oscars coming up, so we'll probably do.
Exactly.
John, ask you to come back for the Oscars and another big release. We've got June coming out, the part 2, so we'll definitely cover those two. But until then, thank you, Alfonso, Richard, and Mark for joining me today.
Thank you.
See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this film and TV review.com episode. Catch the latest film and TV reviews, together with regular episode content from the world of film and TV every week. See you soon. Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today.